You have been watching oil prices. You have been watching stock markets. You have been watching ceasefire negotiations collapse in Islamabad. But there is another war unfolding right now. One that does not make the front page. One that does not move in real time on a trading screen. It is a war on food. Today, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization issued one of the most serious warnings of this entire conflict. A global food crisis could develop if normal traffic does not resume through the Strait of Hormuz soon. The FAO Chief Economist Maximo Torero said the clock is ticking. He warned this situation could balloon into a global crisis, rivaling the COVID-19 pandemic in its impact on hunger and food security. Let me explain why. Because the connection between a 34-kilometer waterway in the Persian Gulf and the bread on your table in Zurich or Geneva or Basel is more direct than most people realize. The Strait of Hormuz is not just an oil route, it is the passage through which substantial portions of the world's urea, natural gas, and fertilizers travel. These are not luxury commodities. They are the raw materials that farmers across Europe, Asia, and Africa use to grow the food that feeds billions of people. When the strait closes, fertilizer cannot move. When fertilizer cannot move, farmers cannot plant at full capacity. When farmers cannot plant at full capacity, crop yields fall. When crop yields fall, food prices rise. Not next month, not next year, but over the coming growing seasons, because agriculture runs on a calendar that does not wait for geopolitical negotiations. The FAO chief economist said it plainly. Everything is linked to the crop calendar. If farmers do not have all the resources they need for planting, that causes lower yields. Lower yields mean less food in the future. Now consider the timeline we are already in. The Strait of Hormuz has been effectively closed since February 28th. That is 45 days. Spring planting season in the Northern Hemisphere is happening right now. European farmers, North African farmers, South Asian farmers, all of them are trying to secure inputs for the most critical growing period of the year. And the supply chains that deliver those inputs run through or around a waterway that is now blockaded by two opposing naval forces simultaneously. The United States Navy began its blockade of all Iranian ports this morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Iran responded by threatening that no port in the region will be safe. The IEA confirmed today that more than 80 oil and gas facilities across the Middle East have been damaged since the war began. Strategic reserve releases are happening, but the IEA head said plainly they are not a solution. They are just reducing the pain. This is the part that Switzerland and Europe need to understand very clearly. North Africa depends heavily on fertilizers that move through Gulf supply chains. When North African agriculture is stressed, North African food prices rise. When North African food prices rise, political instability follows. And when political instability follows in North Africa, the pressure on Europe's southern borders increases dramatically. Switzerland imports the vast majority of its food. Swiss supermarkets source products from across Europe and the wider Mediterranean region. Swiss farmers themselves depend on agricultural inputs that travel through global supply chains connected to the Gulf. The Swiss National Bank has been watching energy inflation. But food inflation is a different beast entirely. Energy prices can fall quickly when a crisis resolves. Agricultural damage from a missed planting season takes an entire growing cycle to repair, 12 months minimum, sometimes longer. The IEA called this the worst global energy disruption in history. Larger than 1973. Larger than 1979 combined. If the FAO is now warning of a food crisis of COVID-19 proportions, then we are no longer talking about a market correction. We are talking about a fundamental disruption to the basic systems that feed the world. The ceasefire expires April 22nd, 9 days away. The blockade started this morning. The crop calendar does not stop for either of them.